So hello and welcome once again to my layout New Junction. Now believe it or not, it's been almost 2 months since the last video, and boy has it been busy away from the railway. So probably a month and a half ago now we had the brand new show at the NEC, Model World Live, which proved a massive success. It was fantastic to meet so many of you once again. In fact, it was too busy at times, but that's all part of the fun. Of course, with a Curious Girl, we had all the fun of bringing a Class 37108 to the hall on its way from Crewe to Ruddington, because that's where it's going to be fully restored. Wind the clock forward a couple of weeks, and of course it was the Curious Girl takeover at Rails of Sheffield. That was 3 days of fun, and we got to meet, again, a lot more customers and viewers of the channel, and it was a much more intimate setting because obviously it's not a national exhibition, and that was great because we really got to have some good topics of conversation with you all. So thank you for anyone who popped down to either of those events and said hello. So moving back on with the layout, you can see it's still here, it's still going. Well, that was fluky, was it? Still going, dearie me, come on. Dead point. So as you can see, the layout is still here, still going. And believe it or not, I've done quite a bit on and off. I've just not managed to film anything. So what I'm going to do is just run over the scenic section and talk about where I am and what I've been doing, and some of the improvements on the layout, because I know you like that. Right, before anything else stops, I'm going to carry on. So if I get out of the way, you can probably see I'm having a bit of a change around with the old stock. So we've got the 92 pulling the new war wells, the new Curious Girl Hattons war wells, with the tanks from the Key Publishing model shop. They are yet to be painted, as you can see, but no, as 3D printed kits go, they're very nice. And then coming round, we've also got the 97 pulling my long lost Network Rail train. They are Bachmann Mark IIs, and they were resprayed for the original New Junction, believe it or not. And that nicely brings me on to what I'm actually doing, is I'm swapping out all of the passenger stock on the layout. And as you can see, I've been slowly collecting freight wagons, very slowly. These are the Bachmann HRAs, and they released at the Key show this one, which is Freight Belongs on Rail. It's a real wagon, and it was done by DB Cargo to promote, obviously, freight being on the railway. And it's bright green, and it gets pulled along by the Climate Hero 66, which is a mighty fine chance happening, that is, because obviously the Curious Girl 66s are imminent, which is why all the passenger stock's coming off, apart from the Heritage line, and the freight's coming out. So the old HYA, are they HYAs or HIAs? I can never remember. But the biomass wagons from the Curious Girl, funny enough, they're here. They're my weathered rake from TMC. Now, if you remember, I did a separate video on these, and these just set the bar much higher for my own personal stock, because as you can see, they're rather nice, and particularly TMC did a very nice job on my New Junction branded one, which is very kind of them. But no, all this is in preparation for the 66's landing, which, as I'm filming, should be a couple of weeks away. 001 is already here, but the ones I want, the modern ones, are soon to land. So we're getting excited for new releases. The only passenger stock I think I'll keep out is the Mark IIs at the back there, as you can see, all there, because I fancy having a rail tour rake as well, but we'll see what arrives. Now, one of the big problems with going to these exhibitions is I tend to spend my pocket money, and one of the big things missing on this layout currently is the overhead patina, or the knitting, as I like to refer to it. Now, Westall Wagon Works, believe it or not, they've released an absolute beast of a set of overheads, and as you can see, 3D printed as normal, but been shopping. So I'm hoping in between all this I'll be able to really focus on some of the catenary now for the main line on this half of the layout. And I mean, you can just see how much stuff's in this bag. I've been waiting for this, can you tell? And one thing they've also got on the cantilevered arms, the registration arms, they also have magnets. You can probably just see it, tiny little magnets in there, which they work with the Pico catenary wires. And I've seen a video of this. All you have to do, line them up, and then bam, sticks to them. So you get, in a way, a self-tensioning catenary system. But that's all to be tested. And I'm really looking forward to this because this whole scene is going to change dramatically when there's catenary on there. So yeah, I'm going to get on with this and hopefully bring you a video in the not too distant future of adding the knitting. That's going to change it a bit, isn't it? So I don't know if you'll be able to see this particularly well, but you can see just above the heritage line there is now a telegraph pole. Now, just as this new B1 passes, I took a trip to my local model shop, and just as you do, you know, you're browsing for things that you didn't know you need. I actually picked up some of the Woodland Scenics, the HO single crossbar pre-wired poles, but yeah, it's telegraph poles. And as you can see, I've just put them in just to really add a little something to the scene, and I think it really does. I mean, the only downside to this, of course, if I'm taking proper photos of the layout, cutting the wires out in Photoshop is a pain in the backside. But I think they look really good, and they just add a little something while I'm still waiting to do all the main greenery and bushes and trees and things. I've also picked up some of the barbed wire fence. Now, they do a lot of variety of fencing, but the wired stuff I particularly like because it's very fine and it just really changes the scene. So you can just see it here, just as I do the finish the bridge ramp. I'm probably going to follow this down here and add some of the barbed wire in, just to keep people off the heritage line. Double effect. I could put the fence here, which would probably be more realistic, but as I'm filming and photographing, I don't want a fence in the way, so I'm going to put it down here. Yeah, they're the totally non-sponsored Woodland Scenics utility system fence and pole kits. Very useful. So turning the camera around, I'm showing you something which I was working on. I actually made a full video on this, but I decided not to show it because it's not quite worked. But I wanted to make myself, or have a go at making, a card bridge, which then you cover in plaster, and then you scribe out the brickworks. As you can just see, I've penned some in, and then you give yourself a bridge like that. But I think in general, it dried fine and it was working very well, but then the weather has made it warp and split a bit, so it's not quite the best. So I think I'm going to I'll probably give it another go off camera and see if I can get it to dry fully in the house, but if not, I'll probably resort back to a laser cutting job to get this bridge in. But as you can see, I really like the bridge because the road will come up over the bridge and then follow the road down, and yeah, it should be quite nice. And it just beds in the heritage line, as you can see, with the steam engine come past, because the main focal point, of course, is the main line at the back. But it's just nice to have this just to break up the scene. So going to the other side of the bridge, I've actually been concentrating on the groundwork quite a lot here, and as you can see, I've just started to dry brush the siding, and I'm building it up very slowly because I don't want it to get too filthy too much. And I often find when you first put it on, it looks very dark, but then you come back a day or two later and it's sort of bedded in, probably the excess has gone, and it looks all right. And as you can see, I've been using the Humbrol weathering powders just to dry brush on, and I've got a mix of various rusts, greys and whites and blacks, and I just sort of build it up slowly. And you can see, hopefully it's just starting to come on quite well on the heritage line siding here. And I'm going to let this sit now and see how I like it before I go on to do the other siding, and of course the main line itself at the back, or the heritage line at the back. Now, I've come to the other side of the layout because I get a lot of questions about what's happening on this side. So, currently, not a lot of the track's in. As you can see, the B1's just coming around where the station will be. On the wrong platform, I should add. I'll let it go past. A nice, gentle sweeping station. And then, of course, the 97. He's just going through the station, obviously. The only bit of track work I've yet to do is where these Mark 1s are. It needs to come round on this side of the platform, and you can see it joins up over there. Now, this is very much the forgotten about side, and it's amazing really to see how far the other side has come when you compare it to this side. So as you can see, it's just a bit of a dumping ground currently. But no, what my plans are is to finish the opposite side and then turn the whole layout round and work on this side. As you can see, this corner is just where the trains go. Like I said, a bit of a dumping ground. I'm sure we're all guilty of that though. So just looking from this angle, it'll be really nice to get the catenary in, because I'll finally be able to know where it's going to go and be able to stick all these trunking boxes down. As you can see, both workmen have now fallen over, and that'll just be really nice to get on with that. And this scene's going to change. For those wondering, these tanks were from the Key Publishing model shop. That's on keymodelworld.com. And they're just 3D printed tanks. And I think they look very smart. So another job I've done, which is very small but it's quite effective, as the 37 disappears off, the 97 sorry, you can see the green fence down here. I've actually, using clothes pegs, I've gone along each piece and super glued them together. So now, although it's a fence that wraps around the contours of the hillside, they're actually all in line with each other. So it's very satisfying now that's done. As you can see, it's rather a straight line. And of course you can see more of the telegraph poles here as well. All the fun. So I've just brought this B1 to a stop because I just wanted to give it a little mention, because it's now found its voice. Now, I bought this probably over a year ago from AGR, the model railway shop in Leighton Buzzard, and it's finally got a voice. So I sent it up to John JMC, check out his YouTube channel, and he has sound fitted and added a stay alive to this for me. I can't remember if this was one of his own sound files or another one, but it's very nice. And all this came about because when I was at the Severn Valley Railway last year, I saw Mayflower, which is also a B1, and it just looks splendid. And I like to use the excuse that if I've seen one or been near one, it's got a reason to come onto the heritage line. So I'll be looking to change the numbers on this, add a few more details, maybe a name plaque to look like the real thing. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. So I think going on from here, obviously some of the jobs are quite small, but general improvements. I'm definitely in need of a tidy up of the garage, and just a sort of a regroup before I continue on. There's lots of little things on the go. I really need to finally put the fence up that goes around here, around the tunnel mounds at the other end, and add the sort of bushes and overgrown seafoam trees in. Likewise on the heritage line in the fence here, I need all of the overgrown bushes and things like that to really sort of bring in the scene and just sort of create a bit of a gap. But a lot of that is dependent on the catenary going in first, and then it'll dictate what space I've got available. There's also a lot of bits of ballast that need just touching up now we've cleared it. So as you can see, some of the gaps here, so you've got some nice gaps forming, but that's easily sorted. I was going to weather the track first when I decide which way's best for me, and then fill in the gaps with, again, fresh ballast, so it looks like new ballast. And there we are, the end of another video. I just want to say a big thank you as ever for tuning in. Do hit that subscribe button down below if you want to see more and be notified of future videos. And of course, as ever, thank you very much to the channel patrons who enjoy all the content as it happens there on Patreon. Right, I'm going to go away now and work on what to do next, because the garden railway is calling, because the sun's out, as you can probably tell, and it's rather warm in here. So who knows what's coming up. There are things coming, so don't worry. Right, thank you as ever, take care, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Bye for now.